welcome to the V10 video. And as always, let's start with actually taking it out of the box. This comes in quite a big, heavy box. Oh, it's a box within a box. I like them. No handle on it though, second box. Okay, so we get a manual, charger, which is that's an 84 volt charger, a cable. So if we ship them to Europe, US, we try and include the correct cable. You just need to let us know though beforehand, but we do tend to just try and guess on your country. Right, let's get it out of the box. Oh, that's a big lift. Oh, not ridiculously heavy though. Heavier wheels, we'll weigh it in a bit. It's off. Oh, what a magnificent looking machine. Wow, does that look nice or what? Trolley handle. Just comes up with ease. Look at that. I like it. Wow. Okay. So the side pads, they come in a separate little bag, and then you stick them on. They got double-sided tape. Stick them on there. Actually press them on as you need. Good, because you can replace them out and later on if they get worn out. It's quite good. And so there's a clip here, put the trolley handle back down. Okay, and the button underneath there, so when you pick it up, it turns on and off. Let's have a look, see if we can boot this up. Bit of tape on the front here. Does it turn on? Oh, look at that. Wow, what a machine. So when I pick it up, there we go, look, doesn't spin. Put it back down again, cuts back in again. What a tyre there. Wow, for 16 inch, that is a really, really wide tyre. I like that. We'll look at the specification of the tyre in a second so you can have a look at the tread. Oh, massive wide foot plates like that and long. Wow, I like that. That's pretty cool. Side lights. As I know, a lot we can do with this through the app, so you can turn these lights on and off if you don't like the lights, or if you want different patterns or whatever, you can change it there. You've got a front headlight, press and hold I believe, the front headlight. Look at that, nice and bright. And you got a rear light, so yeah, that's good. As far as I know, this flashes, so when you're braking, you're leaning back, this flashes, and the harder you brake, the faster it flashes. There we go, you've got a battery readout. Let's turn the light off again. You've got a battery readout on the top. Yeah, wow. That is looking good. Like it. Right, let's have a look at the tyre specs, shall we? Max load 75 kilograms, and it says inflate to 40 psi, 2.8 bar. There is no minimal maximum, it just says inflate to 40 psi. Tyre size 16 by 2.5, and the number before that is 64-305. So yeah, quite. Yeah, it's a mixed tread, so road and off-road, and that centre line will wear down slightly as you start riding it, and then it'll become a bit smoother. But yeah, nice tread on that, quite an aggressive tread if you were off-roading as well, so that should hopefully work quite well. What it's like is off-road is a 16-inch wheel, not 100% sure, but we shall try it out. But so far it feels very solidly built. It feels like a brilliant little machine, so we will see. And the weight is, if it focused, ta-da, 20.62 kilograms. Okay, well let's do a quick run through of the InMotion app on the V10F. And it applies to obviously other models as well because they use the same application. And we're just going to run through some of the features, very basic overview of how it works and some of the functionality you can expect if it's your first time with an InMotion product. InMotion app, you can download that from the iOS store or from the Android store, Google Play, etc. Of course, this is only up to date to the date this video was uploaded. This is the latest version. It will change, they do regular updates to it. So that if you're watching this in a year's time, 2 years' time, it may very well completely changed. You launch the InMotion app, and up comes the front welcome screen, and then you either press skip, and it tries to connect to the device, as you can see it there. Now if this fails, you just click search device and it comes up again, you just press it. In this instance it connects just fine. So from here you've got your speedo, you've got your range, your estimated range, with a battery reading underneath in a grey, which you can see just there. It's 100%. Okay, and you can press this. So most of these things on here are interactive. So you can see instantaneous energy consumption, so what you're actually drawing in terms of power, and it breaks it down for you. Not only that, if you tip this up completely forwards, you will get the camera view. So what you can do from here, if you haven't already allowed permissions, is press and hold, and you get record screen and microphone, or record screen only, or don't allow. Now if you press don't allow, that's fine, because you can press and hold it again, and you get it again. So record screen and microphone, and from here we can record, so it's recording currently. And as you can see around the outside of this circle, it shows you that it's actually recording. And there we go, and then it shows it within the app. There it is playing. So we just cancel that. And then if you put it back down again, flat, it comes out of that mode and you're back in the normal mode. Also, there's a landscape mode, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Looks really cool. If that was a heads up on a helmet or something, that would be brilliant. So it shows you loads of readouts, your time it's been on, etc, etc, power output, and if you're going in a steep hill, the regeneration. So just turn that back around again to get it back. You can press the horn, which is here, which if you want to get people's attention, if they're in front of you, you can do that. The other way you can get the horn, which is pretty neat, is just swipe down. So you just swipe down and it beeps. Not only that, if you swipe up, you can turn the light on and it makes a noise to let you know. If you swipe up again, it turns it off. So there we are, that's pretty neat, I thought. And you can also turn the light on from here. Just light on, light off. So that's all good. And you can add things to your dashboard. So you press the plus and you can add these things to it. This model does not support this feature. So you can only choose certain things. So fan, it's already been enabled. So we've got things that are already on here. But there we go, as and when they develop that. The discover button at the bottom shows you where you rank in terms of your range and distance you've gone across the whole world. Essentially, you can click all and you can filter down. And so you get a load of information, questions and answers, and press releases and all sorts. So that's quite good. Moments, you can add your own photos. You can take photos and videos and upload them to the community around the world. So it's basically a wall with photos and things on there and comments and things like that. So that's good. You can go to me, and so you can look at all your information. Yay! Logged in. I got coins. So you earn coins over time. And there we go. So you've got all this and the challenges you can do. You can look at my vehicles, favorites, feedback, settings, and people can comment as well. So it's like a little social network on there. So we go back to vehicle, which brings you across here. Now you can swipe across again, and you can record your route to where you're going. So currently we're at Speedy Feet, but you can press record and it'll show you your trip, how far you've gone, speed, duration, etc. Let's swipe them back again, so we can go to remaining mileage. And you can swipe to the left again, and that gives you your overall stats. So this trip, average speed, miles per hour, a bit like when you turn it on the side, similar stats. And here is your peaks and troughs of your power output. And you can click your speed to see your speed over time, energy consumption over time, and temperatures over time. So you get to see quite a bit of information here. So it's very, very detailed. So I quite like that. And you can't go any further left, but you can keep swiping and go back through them all again, like so. Then you've got your settings at the very top right up here. Now from here you can see diagnostics, sound customization, light effects, vehicle information, and my vehicles. So light effects you can have on and off. Max speed, now you can toggle this bar all the way up. We're on the V10 here currently, up to 25. Then you get a warning message saying we don't recommend you do it unless you've been riding for about a year. So if you haven't been riding a year, just cancel that out. Standby time, the vehicle will not power off automatically during the period of time you set up, so that you can continuously play music in standby mode. So you can use it as a set of speakers essentially. You can adjust the volume, if I can grab that. You can adjust the volume, footboard sensitivity, the handle button. So when you pick the unit up, it's got an off button. You can turn that off if you don't want it to work. And transportation mode, so it locks the machine so it can't accidentally boot up if it's in a box. You've got ride modes, comfort ride, classic, comfort mode and classic mode. Vehicle correction, which will be your calibration. And you've got firmware updates, so always check if you've got firmware update. It will run through, it's already latest version, as you can see I'm on 2.2.8, and that will change over time. I would tend to wait a week and just see what the feedback is on the Discover forum, which you will generally see people on Discover, or Moments, should I say, sorry, on Moments complaining if there's a bad firmware update. So just wait a week and then update if it's all is good, unless there's an inherent problem with the machine and you urgently need to do an update. And there we go. So that is pretty much the run through of the app. It's a very basic and quick run through. So you can get notifications here if I click on them. People commenting and liking our posts that we put up. It is connected to their servers, so it's no Facebook speed in terms of pulling down these comments and likes and things like that. So you have to wait some time. We don't really use it that much, but you can see these are all the people that go and like our stuff. Not that we post that regularly to it. But I hope that gives you an insightful run through the app and what you can expect from it. But it's pretty good, pretty well built, and it's fairly robust, as I say. Okay, I'm going to head into the city with it now to see how it handles through traffic, through people, off steps, all tight, confined environment, to see how it actually works. Okay, well, we've done the city riding now. Now it's time to head out on the rougher stuff to see how it handles. Hopefully, okay. Wow, right, okay, so let's check how far am I into this journey. So it's saying I've got 35% left, which that stood still, and it's given me an estimated range of 15.7 miles left. I don't believe that at all. Take these apps with a pinch of salt. And so far I've done 30 miles, so we've travelled 30 miles, and this is a 680 watt-hour battery. So that is performing really, really well. I reckon I've probably got another 5 miles left. I reckon. That's my guess anyway. So this has actually got speakers that you can connect to and play music through if you wanted to. Not that we advocate that, because it could piss some people off, annoy some people, shall we say. Especially in an area and you're listening to your own music you love, but others might not like so much. In terms of the actual ride quality, these foot plates are massive. Absolutely huge, which makes for very, very comfortable foot positioning. Now they've got a rubber finish on them, as you can see. Now I thought this might be really slippy. Now it isn't winter yet, so we'll find out. I'll hold my judgment on it really. I've got wet from walking on damp grass and my feet haven't slipped off, so that's been good so far. So that's all I can say about that. That is actually performing well. They are wet, they're not soaking wet, it's not in the rain, but it is, yeah, it's all good so far. No slippage, even off-road when wet. As you can see, it gathers a lot of dust, so we've got dust all over it.
kept that on there for you guys to see how it pans out. These, really, really good. You stick them on, they come in the box. You haven't got the option to leave them off. Like the V8, you can either have a hard finish to it, or you can put the soft pads on. These have to go on because there's a recess for them. So, yeah. In terms of the tyre, that's been holding up really well. The speed at which this travels, absolutely brilliant. I mean, this part of the road, I've come back off road, this part of the road section I've been doing, I think about 18, 19 miles an hour, the average speed. So yeah, that's been going well. Not a hint of overheating, not a hint of tilt back, nothing like that at all. Just completely solid the whole time. I've had no quirky things going on at all. So it's been working absolutely fine. I've gone through some puddles and stuff, and it hasn't sprayed up water over the back, so that seems to be good. It seems to be enclosed really, really nicely, which is a common oversight in a lot of unicycles. You just no water protection. Don't know why they don't ride them in the rain, but there we are. Onto the trolley handle. What do you think? What's your impressions? So my first impressions were it looks like it's been tacked on top as a bit of an afterthought. But I found actually it's not been getting in the way at all with my legs. Your legs are out here. There's quite a lot of space between it. And one useful feature of it is if you're leaning against a counter or a wall, this actually, the top part, once it's lent, keeps it away from the rest of the unit. So you're not having the unit leaning against the wall. It's actually this part, and this is a big, thick rubber top on it. So that's actually designed to take a bit of leaning, a bit of banging, basically. But it's not faulty. It retracts and comes back up again, no issues. Push the button, goes down, locks into that plastic tab. What more could you want? I think the only thing I would complain about is the fact that the charge port cover is there. So if you want to charge it with this down, for instance, if you're putting it on a 3D printed stand, or any stand, and you don't want this up, you're going to have it up, or at least like that. And even if you don't put it all the way up, if you leave it like this and put it on charge, it rests against it, which I don't really fancy over and over again. It'd probably wear or damage the port or the connector in some way over a period of a year, say. So you kind of have to have it up when you're charging. So that could be a criticism, I guess. I'm well impressed with this. I genuinely am. I thought it would be a brilliant machine based on the V8, and it's performing really well. Yeah, that's really all I can say about it. It is performing really, really well. We got good mileage out of it. It's surprisingly good off-road. I mean, I'm talking rough stuff as well. It's surprisingly good. Now, with these slick machines, with nothing down here or nothing in the centre to grip your leg into for off-road riding, it's always going to be more difficult. You think like the 9.1 S2, it's a 14-inch admittedly, so it makes a bit of difference, but it's just a slippery piece of soap. That's what it is. And so to ride that off-road, you really have to grip your legs in. You can do it, but it's more effort. So it's probably slightly more effort off-road on the real rough stuff to grip into, because you're trying to push your legs into a slippery surface. But these do actually bolster your legs quite significantly, so you can actually grip it and you can hop it a little bit as well. So there's enough grip there to make it leave the ground despite its weight. So that's good. Takes a bit of effort though. Yeah, so from that point of view, it's surprisingly good on the rough stuff. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to go 16-inch again. That's going to be a tough one. But the tyre wall takes the impacts, the extra width gives it extra grip, so you've got more surface area. So those two combined. So if it had stayed the V8 wheel, for instance, the same tyre as the V8, on this size machine, that would have been a hard ride. But this tyre makes up for it. Man, oh man, it's just amazing. Same diameter, but with a thicker tyre sidewall and a wider tyre. The amount that covers off to aid you in riding off-road is amazing, really. One plus point I like is you can look down and see the battery readout. It tells you what it is. So you're riding along, there's no need to get your app out. You just look and go, oh wow, that's getting low. Or, oh, it's fully charged. So that's neat, like that. An actual physical push button to lift it up and turn the motor off. Flipping heavy. That works. Just works. That's the thing that just works. Do that and it works. It's off. So that's all good. In terms of riding, it's smooth on the road. It gives you plenty of speed. I mean, you're talking, we haven't done an official top speed test yet, but I think it's topping at about 24, 25 miles an hour. I say topping out, I don't want to go any faster currently, so we'll do an official test in our next video. But that's the speed. I mean, that is more than enough. I mean, 18 miles an hour, I've been traveling along at about 18 on the road tests, and it's, you know, when you can hear the wind whistling by you, that's enough. 18 is more than enough. My sprint speed probably for naught is about 13, set off straight away. So a comparison, so I'm riding over above and beyond what I could actually run out of. So you're going to hit the floor hard at that speed if I did come off. So yeah, more than enough is the answer to that one. And it's not lacking in power. So the hills we've been up, all the off-roading stuff, on the hills on the road, you're going along 14, 15 miles an hour, whatever, you hit a hill, carries on going at that speed. Just need a bit more lean into it. Doesn't feel like it's weak in any area. Plenty of power. So yeah, this has been a little gem, if I'm honest. It's been really good. And as you know, with these videos we're going to do, and it probably is going to be kilometres, it's going to be 250 kilometres. Will be the next video to say how we're getting on with it. Have we got any faults? Have we had any issues? Any overheating? It's very difficult to grasp this all in one video. And we try and do the best we possibly can. But like this wheel, I'm pretty much saying it's an absolutely brilliant wheel. I haven't come across anything yet that's made me think, oh, that is dodgy. And we do say if there is something, you know, if it's cutting out or it's jolting or it's lack of power, we'll say. And it just isn't. It's just, obviously I've ridden basically every wheel out there more or less, and this one, so it gives me a good benchmark. And this it's a lovely wheel. It's nice, so it's not noisy, and it hasn't had any of those issues, so it's good. So we'll keep up with that. So then we'll do the 250 kilometre video, and then we'll do a 650 kilometre video, and 1,000 kilometres. And that'll give you, if you are one of those guys that doesn't want, or girls, that doesn't want to splash the cash straight away, and you want to see where this goes, see how it develops, then obviously subscribe and watch the next videos we come out with. But first impressions, I don't think this is going to disappoint. It's build quality. With InMotion, the build quality is always good. It's what they do, basically. It's similar. It's a similar par to 9bot, Segway 9bot. A lot of resource goes into the tooling, a lot of resource goes into QC and checks like that. At the time of recording this video, the V10F, the early releases, because this is a fairly new product, so look at the date below if you're watching this video in 3 years' time. The early releases and the batches had issues with the V10F. No such issues reported with the V10. Sort of been overlooked. It's one of those models that have been overlooked, the V10. We've bought V10 in and V10F, but we haven't received any V10F at this point. We will have, we've got them inbound, because of the issues. So this is a solid machine. So we got that in. And we sort of overlooked it. We thought, V10, V10F, V10F I was going to go for. But right in this, same motor as a V10F in it. It's just that the battery voltage output is lower. So it's, in comparison to the V10F, you should lack on torque. But this thing packs a punch. And for what it looks like, it's just it's a beautiful machine. They've made it perform well and look good. This maybe is the only criticism really for that looks. It sort of takes it away for me. And obviously that's a personal opinion. I think if this was my everyday wheeler, I think, because for my own use, I don't use trolley handles. I've got no need for them. Occasionally I'll pop them up and lean against the wall. But and you can see how quick that is. But I would take this off, I think. And I would have it look like the V8, just a bit bigger. But a beautiful machine. Gets dusty real quick, especially out here. But yeah, that's all good. So I think that really summarises where we're at with this. The app has performed well. I haven't had any issues with the app, which is usually a common problem across all brands, but no issues. It's connected fine every single time. The speakers work well. Obviously, if you connect it to the Bluetooth for the headphones part, you get all your notifications coming through as you're riding along over the speaker system. But no, it's been performing really, really well. So I'm going to carry on with this range test now, and then basically this video conclude with how far it's taking me on a charge. And this is the underdog, this wheel, in comparison to the battery size. So if you're looking at those, motor power or motor size is on par with the bigger wheels, but the battery size is a lot less, and you can see why. It's a thinner design. You know, you can fit less in there, but it's hit 30 miles on a 680 battery. Now I thought that was pretty good, and it hasn't run out yet. So let's see where it takes us. And for a lot of people, that will be enough mileage. It's a stunning looking machine, and it's performing really well so far. So yeah, I'm actually impressed at the moment. And obviously we'll follow all the way through for all those video releases and just see how we get on. But this will conclude with how far it got me once I finish riding. It's taking some time.
Not sure if you can see that, we're down to 21% battery, stroke 20% battery, with a bit of pressure on it. So yeah, let me show you the light. So that's what she looks like, which is on 20%. You get the one red light. So you got total current, torque, speed, acceleration, speed meters per second, mainboard temperature. What more could you want? It's all on heads-up display. Time, durations, this trip, all sorts. So pretty impressive. Okay, and now we've got a flashing red light. Let's have a look what that battery percentage is. Okay, well the app is saying 25%. I don't believe that. Surely that's got to be flashing at 10%. I'm going to treat that as a 10%, but we'll see. Okay, well, I've got about 4% battery left, and I've done about 36 miles. So I'm going to put the camera away now as we head into an area which could be potentially just a cut-off. You'd hope not, you'd hope the firmware would tilt you back, but at the moment it's running about 4% battery. So I'm going to put the camera away, put it in the backpack, and head on the last 4% to see how far this gets me. Oh great, cattle grid and a low battery. Not ideal combination. Let's keep the camera out and see what happens. Oh, brilliant. It's always scary at the best of times. And for those who don't realise, going over a cattle grid is huge spikes in power as you go over and drop, over and drop, over and drop. So it's like loads of power, no power, loads of power, no power. And the worst time to do something like that is with a low battery. It's bad at the best of times, but with a low battery, silly idea. So there's a little tip of the day for you. Okay, and we have hit a dead battery and the foot plates are tilting backwards and it's trying to go backwards. It's doing everything it can to stop you. Let's spin that around so you can see. So that's straight and they're actually pointing up in the sky. So that is the end. Let's see how many miles that was. Okay, and so it does about 25 miles, so that's with my weight, the speeds we were travelling and the terrains we were going over. So you can expect anything. I would have thought, depending on your weight, if you're the same weight as me, so I'm about 13.5 stone. It was mixed riding, 25 miles. You might be able to push a bit more out of it. And obviously if you're going flat out, you might expect a bit less out of a single charge if you're just going absolutely flat out, which you don't want to be doing. But mixed riding, 25 miles, probably a good benchmark. Maybe if you get even slightly warmer and flatter, you definitely get more out of it. But if you say 25, you should be in the safe area, I would have thought, depending on those factors, and tyre pressure. So there we go, the next video will be the 250 kilometre video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe and share it if you think it's going to be useful for people. More to come on this model as it goes through the miles. We'll keep reporting back. But so far, really, really good. Oh, and one last point. The app isn't particularly accurate, as I said, with the battery percentage, like most applications. The readouts up and down, up and down, up and down. But this is reading, when we boot it back up, it's reading 10% battery, which obviously it isn't. So it seems, like most apps and most readers, they tend to get to a point where real low battery, it really seems to struggle to give you the exact reading. So I would say once you start hitting the amber and red, stroke red, probably the first time it goes red, you want to be thinking about getting home, getting it on charge to ride safer and to protect the battery, of course, as well. There we go. There we go. So beep, 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 beep. And then it tilts back and you can't ride it anymore. And you've got nothing happening there, so dead as a dodo.